It wouldn't seem like war and biotech are related, but as we're finding out with the current conflict in Iran, they absolutely are. In this video, we'll talk about how war can both hinder science and medicine, but also accelerate it. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. Looking at the numbers, it's no secret the current war is hitting nearly every industry, and the global pharmaceutical supply chain is no exception. Raising oil prices and bottlenecks in the Strait of Hormuz are driving up transportation and energy costs, and this also heavily impacts biomanufacturers. Consider this: nearly 40% of generic drugs come from India, and India relies on the Strait both for the raw materials to make those drugs and to ship them out. The longer the war extends, the less access the US has to antibiotics, blood pressure medications, diabetes medications. Right now, vulnerable medicines, specifically those that require refrigeration, and clinical trial drugs are the most at risk. There have been some workarounds to mitigate the effects of this blockade. Companies like Roche, Merck, Novo Nordisk, and others have opted to host operations in the greater Middle East region, with some choosing to reroute shipments through Saudi Arabia. Despite the obvious hardship on the industry, I do want to look at the opportunities for change. This isn't me deflecting from the severity and seriousness of this war. It is a very serious matter, but it's also one that I know I'm not qualified to speak on. For more general knowledge about the conflict itself, please check out some of the links I've left in the description below. So why am I talking about change? Well, because it's happened before. Let's take a quick look into history. Historically, war has always drastically shaped pharmaceutical innovation. For example, World War II saw the birth of mass-produced pharmaceuticals. Before then, medicines were made in small batches, but during World War II, the US government coordinated with pharmaceutical companies to mass-produce penicillin. This led to deep tank fermentation, which is now a staple in the modern pharmaceutical industry. Then there was blood banking in both World Wars I and II. War forced doctors to learn how to store human tissue. In World War I, they discovered that adding sodium citrate prevented blood from clotting, allowing it to be stored for days. Then later in World War II, the development of blood plasma, dried or liquid blood components that could easily be transported without refrigeration, saved thousands of lives and established the global blood and plasma industry we know today. Outside of physical health, war also shaped mental health. Shell-shocked soldiers forced the medical community to finally recognize psychological trauma as a legitimate medical concern, rather than a lack of strength or will or malingering. Honestly, I could go on about how the history of medicine and how war shaped it, from surgical innovation and prosthetics to Florence Nightingale during the Crimean War, to modern triage systems and modern trauma systems. There's a lot that war shapes. So we can comfortably conclude that war shapes biotech and medicine. This leads to our final question. How will the current war in Iran shape the industry today? To answer this, we actually have to shift our attention away from the physical world and jump into the digital world. At the start of this war, and as of recording this video, we haven't seen too much on the ground, but companies have had to deal with severe cyber attacks. Take Stryker, for example, a major medical tech company. Biotech companies and the drug industry as a whole now have to seriously prioritize cybersecurity. It is imperative that we have hardened medical devices that can continue to work even when the central network has been attacked or completely wiped. This war could also see us putting AI to the test. DARPA is currently developing AI automated care systems that can respond in dangerous situations to stabilize the wounded when evacuation just isn't possible. However, this concept is a whole video in and of itself, so let me know if that's something you're interested in. Finally, looking back at shipping and the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, the industry is being forced to consider onshore and modular manufacturing, essentially small portable pharmacies that can synthesize essential drugs and chemical procedures, or precursors. One thing is clear, there's a lot left to play out, and things are constantly changing. One thing is for sure, the war is forcing us to reckon with the weakness within modern biopharma. Where exactly that takes us is still kind of in the air. I've given my thoughts, but what do you think? What do you think I got right, or maybe do you think I got wrong? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, while you're at it, make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content like this, tell me what you want to make videos on, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.